She was drawn to you more when your words were few, when your texts came slowly, when your attention felt like a prize, not a gift. But the instant you pursued, she stopped fleeing. Not because her interest faded, but because your authority slipped. Each time you lean into her world, she notices. Not deliberately, but something primal within her shifts. She eases, sensing you're no longer a challenge, you're no longer the prize, you're the chaser. And in her instincts, shaped by centuries of evolution, that signals you're not a leader, you're a follower, and followers don't spark attraction. Machiavelli grasped this ages ago. His writings weren't about love, but power, yet the principles aligned perfectly. He saw men lose influence not for lack of charm or wit, but for failing to hold the frame. They let their adversaries shape the battlefield. They reacted instead of crafted. They thought effort meant influence, and perished under that delusion. In romance, that same delusion destroys you. You pursue her, believing it will win her, but eagerness doesn't claim power. You gain it by setting the terms. In dating, the terms are the frame. What is frame? It's not just demeanor. It's structure. The unseen foundation of every exchange. It's the tone you establish, the rhythm you dictate, the reality you project with steady precision. Frame explains why two men can speak the same lines, yet one is overlooked while the other captivates. One begs to be picked, the other knows he already is. He doesn't perform, he doesn't waver. He sets the scene and lets her step into it, or not. But he never abandons his ground to chase. This isn't arrogance, it's clarity. As Robert Greene cautioned, show too much and they stop wondering. Explain too fast and they stop dreaming. When you chase a woman, you surrender the pen. You're reacting to a story she's writing, often without realizing it. She smiles and you glow. She delays and you falter. She vanishes and you crumble. You're not a man in pursuit. You're a servant on standby, and no queen honors a man who obeys before she commands. Machiavelli wrote, "Men are so simple, so yielding to immediate needs, that deceivers will always find those ready to be deceived." Modern men fall for an emotional trap, believing pursuit proves devotion. But devotion without rarity is self-destruction. She must sense the weight of your attention, not because you withhold to manipulate, but because you're anchored in your own purpose, your own mission, your own values. You're not selling yourself, you're choosing. The man who holds the frame doesn't rush. He doesn't over-explain. He doesn't flood silences with proof of his worth. He lets unease speak for him. He lets her curiosity sharpen. He's not cold. He's deliberate. And in that distinction, her instincts shift. She tests differently. Her questions carry intrigue, not doubt. She reaches out. She leans closer because a man who owns his frame feels rare. In a sea of reactive men, rarity is magnetism. Before she touches you, she's already felt your presence. Before she replies to your text, she's already reacted to your timing. And before she loves you, she's already yielded to your frame. Or she hasn't. Attraction begins here. Not in effort, not in clever phrases, but in commanding the narrative's pull. You're either the man she orbits, or the one circling her, craving her light. Don't orbit. Build your own gravity, and let her revolve. She doesn't need every detail of your life. She needs reasons to wonder about what you haven't shared. Not because women crave games, but because the human mind craves mystery. Once it's solved, it moves on. You think sharing everything, your plans, dreams, whereabouts, past loves, insecurities, masked as openness, builds connection, but it kills intrigue. You erase the unknown. You hand her the script and say, predict me, control me, feel secure. Yet no woman desires safety more than she desires fascination. There are two types of men. The first narrates his life like a desperate documentary, sharing every step, every update, every feeling. He sends long texts. He posts every moment. He spills his emotions into DMs and comments, hoping someone will save him from his own openness. The second man is calm, precise. His life doesn't spill, it unfolds. When she probes about his past, he offers a glimpse with a smile. When she teases to pull him in, he doesn't rush to clarify. He lets silence shape her curiosity. Guess who she texts later? Mystery isn't manipulation. It's maintaining depth that's unresolved, and that requires real depth. Many men confuse mystery with vagueness. They act distant but crave attention. They withhold details but obsess over replies. Women sense this. They're not drawn to silence itself, but to the substance behind it. A man who says less because he is more. Robert Greene put it sharply. The moment you let yourself be treated as ordinary, it's over. Overexposure makes you just another man to scroll past. When she knows your every move, thought and intention, you become predictable, and predictability breeds indifference. It's not your honesty she resents, it's your availability. When everything is accessible, nothing feels precious. Mystery preserves desire, not because you're hiding, but because you know. You know how to live without begging for validation. You know how to hold tension without resolving it. You know how to let her wonder without feeding your own need for reassurance. Most men can't. They post endlessly, DM to fill silences, reply instantly as if she'll vanish otherwise. But the man who weaves absence into his presence becomes unforgettable. She keeps checking his stories, rereading his last message, because he gave her something to feel, not just to know. She wants to unravel him, but he doesn't collapse into explanations. He lets her search. He lets her try. Because the masculine doesn't chase, it leads into the unknown. And that's where attraction thrives. By becoming mystery, you don't avoid connection. You create the space for deeper connection. A woman can't desire what she already possesses. She can't imagine what you've already confessed. So offer her the gift of curiosity. Reveal gradually. Let her earn each piece. Let her feel the absence of your attention before its weight. Above all, let her wonder. Because when she stops wondering, she starts wandering. Every overshare hands her the script, but when she can't predict the next scene, she stays, not because she's confused, but because she's captivated. That's the pulse of attraction, not certainty, but tension, not possession, but pursuit. The man who masters the balance between closeness and distance becomes unforgettable, not because he demanded it, but because he remained unfinished. Mystery only endures